Hello, my name is Garrett Schmidt and I am a fixed income specialist with Principal Global Fixed Income, or PGFI. In this short introductory video, I will provide some background on PGFI and Principal Global Investors, and then turn it over to Bill Armstrong, Portfolio Manager of the Principal Global Credit Opportunities Fund, to further dive into the objective, strategy, and approach of the fund. First, some background on Principal Global Investors, or PGI. PGI is the asset management arm of the Principal Financial Group, which was founded in 1879 and is a Fortune 500 member. As the first slide shows, PGI manages over 500 billion in AUM, of which fixed income products make up nearly half. Principal Global Fixed Income is the largest boutique by AUM, and per slide 2, PGFI manages over 165 billion in AUM, and as you can see, investment grade credit is the largest asset class of that AUM. PGFI has our own profit and loss, so our incentives are aligned with our clients, and we employ over 80 investment professionals who carry on our heritage of fundamental credit research that has been in place since 1965. With that, I'd like to hand it off to Bill Armstrong, one of the 3 portfolio managers of the Global Credit Opportunities Fund, to further dive into the objective, strategy, and approach of the fund.
Thanks, Garrett. I'm Bill Armstrong, and I'm Portfolio Manager for the Global Credit Opportunities Fund. I've been the manager since the end of 2011, and prior to starting this strategy, we spent a large amount of time talking to investors, potential investors, about what they're really looking to accomplish with a fixed income fund. And based on that feedback, we came up with the objective, which was to aim to provide high yield-like returns with investment-grade, corporate-like volatility, while at all times still maintaining an average investment grade quality in the portfolio. In order to achieve that objective, we developed a global credit strategy, which is illustrated on the right side of the page, which invests in investment grade corporate bonds as the core of the portfolio. In times where we determine good opportunities in a risk-on environment, we'll invest in high yield and emerging market sectors. Or conversely, in times where we're more concerned and have a risk-off view, we'll invest in government debt or potentially in securitized assets. Important aspects to understand about the investment, about the fund, is that we're going to be investing in liquid securities. In order to achieve the objective of the fund, we need to be able to move efficiently and quickly from sector to sector and within those sectors as well. So you won't see us investing in less liquid securities in order to achieve slightly higher yield in the portfolio. By doing this, it means that the turnover of the portfolio will range from somewhere between 3 to 6 times, but totally based on the opportunities that we see in the market. For example, in 2019, when we saw very little volatility and so less opportunities in the market, the turnover was towards the lower end of the range. Whereas conversely, in 2020, with the extreme market volatility and the opportunities provided, the turnover was at the higher end of that range. Another aspect of the product to understand is that this is high conviction portfolio. In other words, we'll typically have between 100 to 150 issuers within the portfolio. This is important because security selection is one of the largest alpha drivers since the portfolio was put together back in 2011. The limit is no more than 5% in any individual issuer, and the typical size will be somewhere in the range of 2 to 4%, and that's primarily for investment-grade corporate bonds. For investments in emerging markets, high yield, again, the higher risk types of sectors, the average allocation on those is only about 0.25%. So we're still investing very diversified and with downside protection. A final aspect that I'll talk about is we do utilize duration within the portfolio. And all of our studies show that it's important to have duration in a portfolio that primarily invests in risk assets as this portfolio does. This primarily plays out in years like 2020, where we saw a very large sell-off in risk assets, and duration is there to provide a hedge for the overall portfolio. On the next slide, you can see the listing of the sector allocations with our investment guidelines and the typical allocations provided for you. This illustrates that we do use a very broad range of those guidelines, as we opportunistically allocate to the various sectors. One that I'd like to specifically point out, though, is the government debt and agencies, which list the typical allocation at 0 to 5%, which was definitely been the case since we started managing the fund. However, in 2020, with the significant amount of volatility and risk off in the market, during the first quarter, we did take that allocation above 40% of the fund. This illustrates how the broad guidelines allow us to position the portfolio to reflect the market conditions and to achieve the objective of the fund, which is to aim for high yield-like returns with investment-grade corporate-like volatility over the long term. With that, I'll turn it back to Garrett.
Thank you for your time in viewing this video on the Principal Global Credit Opportunities Fund. And for more information, please contact your Ironbark Key Accounts Manager, and have a great day.